Hello and welcome. So today's video is going to be a silly little video, and it's going to be all about whether the Dukedom of Clarence is cursed. Now I say this because since its creation in 1362, the holders of the title haven't really fared that well. The title the Duke of Clarence was created by King Edward III of England for his third son Lionel of Antwerp, the name coming from Edward's estate at Clare in Suffolk. So Lionel only had one daughter and no sons, and because it was all about the sons, when he died there was no one to pass the dukedom onto, and so the title became extinct until 1412, when King Henry IV of England bestowed the title onto his second son. Henry IV's second son was called Thomas, and he was a soldier and he would often lead armies into battle. During the 100 Years' Wars, Thomas led an English army against Thomas had led an English army against a mainly Scottish army that had come to the French aid at the Battle of Bougie in 1421. Thomas and his knights were surrounded and Thomas was killed at the age of 33. Now Thomas had married, but he didn't have any legitimate children. So again the title went extinct until 1461, when King Edward IV of England gave the title to his brother George. So George had first supported his eldest brother's claim to the English throne, but George was not a fan of Edward's wife Elizabeth and the fact that her large family was enjoying royal favours. He switched his alliance from his brother to Margaret of Anjou, who was the wife of King Henry VI, who Edward had taken the throne from. But he soon switched back to Edward's side and Edward welcomed him back. So George's wife Isabel died in 1476 and George became convinced that she had been poisoned. But after Isabel's death, George tried to marry again to Mary, Duchess of Burgundy, but Edward wouldn't allow this to happen. George soon became involved in another plot against his brother, but this time George was arrested and convicted of high treason. And because he had been found guilty of high treason, he was executed, apparently by being drowned in a butt of Malmsey wine. So because George was executed, his title was forfeited and could not be passed on to his son, and the Duke of Clarence title was not bestowed again until 1789. So in 1553, Lady Jane Grey, the 9 Days Queen, had considered giving it to her husband Lord Guildford Dudley at her coronation, but she had been disposed by the rightful Queen Mary I before this could happen. She and her husband were then executed by Queen Mary. So in 1789, the Duke of Clarence title was given to William, the third son of King George III, and his wife Queen Charlotte. Now, if there was some sort of curse around it, it didn't seem to affect William like that, because he did end up becoming William IV on the death of his elder brother George. But it may have had a little bit of an effect on him because he didn't have any legitimate children. The last person to hold the title Duke of Clarence is Prince Albert Victor. He was the eldest grandson of Queen Victoria and he received the title in 1890. Now Albert Victor had a few scandalous rumours about him. One was that he was involved in the Cleveland Street scandal. In 1889, the Metropolitan Police had uncovered a homosexual brothel in Cleveland Street, and Prince Albert Victor was said to be one of the clients there. And another rumour was that he was actually Jack the Ripper. So flu carried off Albert Victor 2 years after he became Duke of Clarence, but there are even some rumours about his death. He is rumoured to have died of syphilis, or that he was poisoned, or that he had died after being pushed off of a cliff on the instructions of Lord Randolph Churchill, and also that his death was faked to remove him from the line of succession. Now, after Albert Victor's death, his fiancée Mary ended up marrying his younger brother George, who ended up becoming King George V. So that's just a silly little video about whether the Duke of Clarence title is actually cursed. Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you reckon it is a cursed title that curses the men that hold it not to have legitimate children or to die young? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.